Welcome guys to Pikama Stitches. Before we get into today's tutorial, I just want to show us this beautiful lace. I'm going to be making an asoebi style for it for our next tutorial. So kindly subscribe and wait for it, okay? So let's get into today's tutorial. This is the Ankara fabric I'm going to be using for this style, okay? I'll show us the other fabrics later that I'll be using. So from the top part, I'm going to be marking down 1 inch from the beginning of my fabric. This will serve as my waist line, okay? This is where all our markings will be starting from. For this tutorial, I used about 4 yards of Ankara, okay? 4 yards for a plus size. So if you're on a slimmer side, you can use 3 inches because I combined other fabrics to it. So from the waistline, I'm going to mark down my hip point, which is 10 inches, my knee line, which is 21 inches, okay, and then the full length of this um, skirt part is 43 inches, okay. We've not added the top part, okay, just the skirt part. So I'm marking it again to have a straight line from waist to hip 10 inches, waist to knee 21 inches, and then waist to the full length plus hemming allowance 43 inches. I'm going to connect this in order to get a straight line. Thank you so much guys for the last tutorial I just uploaded. I got some good views, not really likes per se. So please kindly like, share and subscribe. Thank you. So from the folded part, this fabric is on fold, okay? I'm going to be marking my waist measurement divided by 4, okay, which is 9.75. My waist round is 39 inches, okay. And then I'm going to go to the hip point and mark my hip measurement divided by 4. Sorry, my chalk is not really clear, so sorry guys, but just follow what I'm doing, okay. After marking out your hip, on the knee part, I'm going to subtract 1.5 inches from what I have on my hip point, okay. My hip is 45, divided by 4 is 11.5. Then I'm going to take out 1.5 inches from that 11.5, okay. I've not added sewing allowance to it, and I'll mark it at my knee, and I'll take that measurement all the way to the full length of the skirt. So sorry guys that my chalk is not visible enough, okay, and my camera didn't capture the full length, but that's exactly what I have on the knee. I took it straight down to the hem of the skirt, okay. So I'm cross checking it again. I'm marking it several times to have a good and accurate line. So go ahead and connect what you have, okay. Then what we're going to do next is to add your sewing allowance. I'm adding 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Remember, we're going to be turning this with lining, okay. So when you've turned with the lining, so we can have our sewing allowance, I added 1.5 inches to all the marked places. 1.5 at the waist, at the hip, and at the hem of the fabric, all around 1.5 inches. So go ahead and mark whatever allowance you feel is best for you, and then connect it into a straight line before you go ahead and cut. It's as simple as that, okay. Just go ahead and connect. So sorry, so sorry guys, I couldn't see any other chalk. I had to use this chalk. So for the front waist, I'm going to come down by half of an inch so it can sit perfectly at my waist. I'm going to connect it to the sides. Just watch the way I'm slanting it. Connect it to the sides. Then after doing that, you're going to add back half of an inch, which is to join this lower part to the upper part, okay. Remember, we're going to have an upper part which is a half length, so we're marking back half of an inch for joining all the way to the sides, and that's the only thing we're going to be doing now. and then you go ahead to cut out, and your skirt is done. It's as simple as that. So just go ahead and cut out. So can you see what we have? This is how beautiful and shaped our skirt is. So from the knee to the hemline is the same thing. Okay, so this is what we have. Can you see how long it is? So beautiful. So you go ahead and notch the midpoint of your skirt, okay? So when you want to align it, you know what to do. So I've gone ahead to fold the back piece, okay? The back is on fold, and we're going to mark the same 1 inch that we marked for the front. Now remember, the front, because of the zipper allowance, has to be wider, okay? You add extra 2 inches to the fold you made for the front piece because of the zipper allowance. And then we're going to go ahead from this 1 inch mark, just go ahead and mark the same thing you marked for the front piece. From waist to hip line, 10 inches for me, okay? Make sure you measure accurately. From waist to knee, 21. From waist to the full length of our skirt is 43 inches. So I'm remarking it in order to get a straight line. If you've been following my tutorial, you know I'm used to doing this, okay? I'm just used to it. So just go ahead and mark again in order to get a straight line, and then you can go ahead and connect the lines. Okay, then I'm going to show us another method. If you've watched my channel, I've done a tutorial on butt contour, and you saw how it came out on me, freehand pattern. So today I'm going to be showing us another beautiful method. You saw how my dress looked on me. Yes, okay, you saw how the dress was. Okay, so at the waistline I'm marking inwards 2 inches. Okay, 2 inches. Now at my hip point I'm going inwards by half of an inch, and I'm connecting it to the 2 inches. Just watch what I'm doing. I came in by half of an inch, I connected it to the 2 inches at the waistline to get a curve since our body is not straight. Now at that hip line I'm stepping downwards by 2 inches. Okay, and then I'll come to my knee and mark inwards 1.5 inches. Please listen again. Okay, that 1.5 inch I'm going to slant it to the 2 inches we came down from the hip point by. Okay, our knee has to be contoured as well. So all your zipper allowance are going to be starting from this line, 2 inches at the waist, half inch at the hip part, step down from your hip by 2 inches, and go inwards on your knee part by 1.5 and connect to the 2 inch line. Now after connecting these lines, go ahead and follow the curve the way it is. Follow the slanted line and mark out your zipper allowance, okay? So I'm using 1.5 inch zipper allowance. So I'm going ahead to mark my 1.5 following the curve, okay? All the way to the hem of the fabric. Go ahead and mark your 1.5 inch zipper allowance. Now after cutting this skirt, you'll see that the hip part will be more curved, okay? The zipper area, sorry, will look more curved than the hip area. Do not get confused when you're sewing and putting your dress together. It will come out perfectly well. But this contour will help your butt and your back to lay flat. Since our bodies are not straight, okay, you can't just cut a straight line. It won't lay well, okay? So this is another method I use sometimes to get that neat and beautiful work. So after marking your zipper allowance all the way to the hemline, you go ahead and connect the zipper allowance line. Now note that all your markings will start from that 1.5 inch mark. Okay, then from that line I'll go ahead to mark my waist measurement divided by 4. On the hip part, still from that 1.5 inch line, I'll mark my hip measurement divided by 4. Now, because of the way we connected, the hip part, like I said earlier, will look straight. Never mind, when you're joining the front to the back, follow your sewing allowance. It will still come out curved and beautiful on you. Now at the knee line, I'm subtracting 1.5 from the hip, sorry, and then I'll go ahead and connect that same measurement all the way to the hem of the fabric. Sorry guys about this chalk one more time. I'm so sorry. Just follow my explanation, or you watch over and over, you get it. Then I'm going ahead to mark 1.5 inch sewing allowance all the way to the hem of the fabric. It's as simple as that. Okay, now for the lace I showed us earlier is for an ashrebi, okay, for a wedding. So this pattern I'm cutting out now, and I'm going to be using it to cut on the lace fabric. So the next tutorial I won't be cutting the skirt part, so just use this tutorial as a guide for that. We'll be working mostly on the upper part. Okay, so go ahead and connect your allowance and you're done with the skirt. It's as simple as that, and you go ahead and cut out. So just go ahead and cut. So can you see what we have? So since this part is looking straight, you go ahead and notch that part so you know that that's your hip point. So you don't get confused and use your zipper allowance part as your hip because of the contouring that we made. The contouring altered the look of the shape, but the shape hasn't been altered. I hope you understand. So when you're sewing it, it will still come out perfect on you. Okay, so can you see what we have here? So beautiful. So I'll go ahead and notch this part for it to be a guide for me that this is my hip area, and go ahead and notch your zipper area too. Okay, very important if you're using this method. But if you're using any other method I've done before, go ahead and I've used so many other methods. You can go ahead and check them out on the channel. Okay, so I've gone ahead to cut out the same thing on my lining piece. Okay, on fold. The only difference is that the lining is 1 inch shorter than the main fabric. Okay, we're going to be using it to turn it neatly. So can you see what we have here? The lining is 1 inch shorter. Okay, and I've done the same thing for the back piece. Okay, the back pieces, remember the back pieces is on fold. Remember to also notch your lining piece. Okay, very important. So we'll go ahead and fold, but before we do, I'll show us what I'll be using. This is my lining. I have a Mikado fabric. This is Mikado. I'll be using it for the upper part. And I have this beautiful chantilly lace. I'll be using it for the sleeves of this dress, my matching zipper, and this beautiful bust foam. Okay, that's what we're going to be using. So I've gone ahead to fold my lining into two. We're marking on the lining, and what will guide your fold is the biggest part of your upper part measurement plus 4 to 5 inches. Okay, so add that. Okay, so from the top part I'm going ahead to mark 1 inch, which will serve as a guide, sorry, for all our measurements. Okay, so this is my shoulder line. Now from that line, I'm going to be marking my shoulder to nipple point, which is 11.5 inches. My shoulder to under bust, very important, which is 15.5. My shoulder to waist, which is 18.5. And I'm going to be adding half of an inch for joining to the lower part, okay? So I'm marking this again in order to get a straight line. You should get used to that on this channel by now. Okay? Even when I have a ruler, I prefer to mark twice again. So go ahead and connect the lines. Shoulder to nipple point, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waist, and half of an inch for joining the upper part to the lower part. And I'll go ahead to connect all these lines into a straight line. Now we're going to be making a princess bustier. Okay? Sorry about the noise, guys. So go ahead and connect your lines. Now I've gone ahead to label the lines. Okay, go ahead and label them. Then the next thing we're going to be doing now is to mark out our shoulder divided by 2. So my shoulder is 16 divided by 2, that's 8 inches. And I'm going to be marking the initial 3 inches neck width. And from that shoulder mark, I'm going to slope down 1 inch for my shoulder slope. And I'm going to connect this to the neck measurement that we marked earlier. Now when you're done with that, the next thing you're going to do is that you're going to be marking your armhole, okay? Your chest line, which is your bust round divided by 6 plus 1.5 inch, okay? That's the formula to get that. Okay, your bust measurement, your round bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Okay, so whatever you have, that is your chest line measurement. So I've gone ahead to mark mine, and what I have from the bust, I'm just going to take it and mark it in order to get a straight line. I think I had 2 inches, so I'm going ahead to mark that, and I'll connect this into a straight line. So this is my chest line. Now what you're going to mark on that chest line is the shoulder measurement divided by 2, 8 inches that I marked at the upper part. So I'm going to connect this into a straight line so we can create our armhole curve. Okay, so from the shoulder slant line, mark what you have to the chest line, get the midpoint and mark the midpoint. Now at that midpoint, I'm going to come inwards by 0.75. Just watch what I'm doing. Now for a plus size, you can do 0.75, but for a slim person, do half of an inch. Now we're going to mark our nipple to nipple measurement plus half of an inch. My nipple to nipple measurement is 9 inches divided by 2, that's 4.5 plus half of an inch. Since we're marking directly on fabric, that's 5 inches. So if you're using a pattern paper, you can ignore adding the half inch, but since we're marking on fabric, ensure you add half of an inch for joining, for sewing allowance, okay? So I've gone ahead to connect from the shoulder to the mid armhole that we came in by 0.75, and also go ahead and connect your nipple to nipple line, okay? I've connected mine into a straight line. Now at the under bust, I'm going to be marking 1.5 inch on the inner part, 1.5 inch at the outer part. For a plus size, my bust is bust 45. So I'm using a 3 inches dart, okay, 3-inch dart. So if your bust is lesser than that, you can do 2.5, okay. Even a bust 45, you can do more, but 3 inches is just fine. And I splitted it equally, 1.5 on this part, on the inner part, just watch what I'm doing, and 1.5 inch that at this other part, making it 3 inches that. Now I'm going to come down by 1 inch from the bust point, and I'll connect to the under bust in a curved manner. I'm using my free hand. You can use your ruler, if your master ruler, pattern master, sorry. So go ahead and connect that 1 inch you came down by, connect it to your under bust 1.5 inch we marked earlier. Can you see what we have there? It will help your under bust to be well contoured. Now what we're going to do next is to connect from the nipple point to that 0.7 inch mark at the mid armhole. Now connect this your nipple to nipple line, okay, to the mid armhole. Okay, can you see what I'm doing here? You can decide to curve it, but not too curved. Okay, just look at what I'm doing here. Connect it to the mid armhole line. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do, guys, is to come down by 2 inches or 3 inches, depending on where you want your princess line to be. If you want it high, you can come down by 2. You want it very low, you can come down by 3 inches. So I came down by 2 inches. I'm going to connect it to 1 inch before the bust, that's the nipple line. Okay, it shouldn't get to your nipple line. Okay, 1 inch before your nipple line, you connect in a curved manner to the 2 inches line. Now this 2 inches line, extend it into the armhole, okay, to avoid shortage. The same 2 inches you marked down, that's the same 2 inches you're going to use to extend the armhole. Okay, you're going to extend this line you're drawing now at the armhole. So when you're joining the inner part and the outer part together, you won't have any form of shortage. Okay, I'm confirming that I have 2 inches from your armhole line. Okay, now when you've gotten that, curve it into your armhole, and we're done creating it. So at the chest line, I'm going to be marking my bust round divided by 4, which is 11.5. Now note the dots that pass through your chest line. Mine is 1/2 inch. Add it back before you can go ahead and add your sewing allowance. Okay, now my under bust is the same measurement to my waist. Okay, 9.75. I'm going ahead to mark that, and then I'll replace the 3 inches that we took at the under bust and connect to the waist. Can you see what we have? Now after marking this, I'm going to go ahead. So can you see what we have? Make sure your princess curve is showing appropriately. When you use this method, you won't have any shortage when putting this together. So I'm adding 2.5 inch sewing allowance. Okay, since we're marking directly on fabric, it's always better to add enough sewing allowance. Okay, so add your sewing allowance and connect, and we're done. It's as simple as that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and mark our neckline. Now for this dress, we're going to be making a queen and neckline. I'm adding 1/2 inch to the shoulder. Don't forget to add 1/2 inch to your shoulder, okay, for joining the shoulders together. Now initially I didn't have a queen and neck in mind, but while creating the neckline, I decided to go for a queen and neckline. Okay, so I marked 3.5 inches. I'm going to ignore it and use 3 inches to avoid gaping at the neck area. Okay, and then I came down by 7 inches. Okay, that's how deep I want it to be for me. If you want yours to be deeper than that, you can go ahead and do more. Okay, so go ahead and connect into a straight line. Okay, I'm marking the same 3.5 inches. Okay, and then I'll connect into a straight line for us to have a square for now. Now what I did next was to go upwards by 3 inches. Okay, from that angle, and I'm going to curve it like you're creating a a sweetheart neckline to that 3 inches you came up by. Now, after creating this was where I decided to change it to a Queen Anne neckline. Okay, so after connecting to the 3 inches, I'm going to slant it back to the 3 inches neck width that we planned earlier. Okay, so connect it to the 3 inches in a slanted manner. Just watch the way I'm doing this. This is the easiest way you can create a Queen Anne neckline, and you can see it wasn't gaping. So for a Queen Anne neck, you don't need to take so much sewing allowance in so it doesn't gape. So at the lower part, I'm going to be removing 1 inch on the sides, okay? So it can lay flat on my side. Okay, we're taking out 1 inch. This is more like taking out a bust dart, but if it's a bust dart for me, I will take more. So just take out 1 inch and slant it to the dart leg, and then you go ahead and cut out. We are done. It's as simple as that. Please, if you've watched this tutorial up to this point and you've not given this video a thumbs up, I don't know what you want me to do. Should I sing for you? Please kindly like and subscribe. Thank you so much. So just watch the lines I'm cutting through, okay? Then go ahead and notch. Very important. This is my underbust line. I'm notching it. Make sure to notch your underbust line and your bust point. It will guide you while joining this together. Okay? Then at my bust point, I'm going ahead to notch as well. Please make sure you notch so you have a perfect fit. So watch the lines I'm going to be cutting through. Just go ahead and cut and you're done with the front piece. I'm notching my under bust as well for the sides. So go ahead and cut. I'm notching my bust points as well. Can you see? So notching is very important. Can't be overemphasized. So can you see how curved our bust is? So go ahead and cut out your sewing allowance, and you're done with the front piece. Cut out your neckline. Don't forget to add half of an inch to the shoulder to join them together, both front and back shoulder. So we're done with the front. We go ahead and fold for our back piece. So I've gone ahead to fold my back piece into two. Ensure the back piece is bigger by at least 2 inches than the front because of the zipper allowance, okay? Or you can just let it be. For me, there won't be any darts at the back, but if you're adding darts, you need to add more allowance. So we're marking out 1 inch at the shoulder, which will be our guide like we did for the front. From that point, we're going to be taking our measurements, okay? From shoulder to bust, 11.5. We'll need under bust for the back, okay? And then shoulder to the waist, okay? Now measure yourself. The front waist and the back waist is never the same, okay? So mine is 16.5, and then I'll add half of an inch to that for joining, okay? So go ahead and connect your lines in order to get a straight line, your bust line and your waist line with your sewing allowance. That's all you need for the back. Then after marking this like we did for the front, I'm going to go inwards at the waistline at this zipper area by 2 inches, and I'm going to slant it back to the shoulder part. Just watch the way I'm slanting it. Since our back is not straight, you need to contour it as well so it will lay flat on your back. Okay, so after doing this contour, you're going to, from that line, mark your zipper allowance. Okay, so remember we used 1.5-inch zipper allowance for the lower part, so I'm going to go ahead and mark 1.5-inch zipper allowance as well from that line. Okay, I'm marking 1.5-inch zipper allowance. So go ahead and connect. Now after connecting, from that your zipper allowance line of 1.5, I'm going to go ahead and take my shoulder measurement divided by 2, and then my neck width of 3 inches, slant down your shoulder by 1 inch, and then remember we marked 2 inches up from my nipple point for the chest lines of the front. Okay, the chest line. So I'm going ahead to mark the same thing, and then I'll also mark the 8 inches shoulder line. Now this line is not going to be straight. This your armhole line because of the slant that we just did, the contour we just did. So connect it like that. It will lay well on your body. Okay, so go ahead and connect all these lines that you just created. Connect your shoulder slant, and when you're done, you create your armhole curve. Okay, the back armhole is very simple. Okay, just create your curve. So after doing this, from note all your measurements are starting from the 1.5-inch zipper allowance line. Okay, so from that line I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4, and then I'll add my sewing allowance, my waist circumference divided by 4. I'll also add my sewing allowance. So after marking, go ahead and connect your lines. The back is simple and straightforward. Okay, then we're going to maintain the 3 inches. Remember we used 3 inches for the front, but for the neck depth I'm going to be using 1 inch for the back. So go ahead and mark it into the zipper allowance line, connect it. Okay, now remember to also add half of an inch to your shoulder for joining the back and front shoulders together. Okay, and when you're done, you go ahead and cut out. Now aside slanting the way, contouring the back the way I did, there's another method I use sometimes. From the waist you just go in some more. Okay, so just go ahead and curve out your armhole. Please kindly like as you're watching now and subscribe. Thank you. And if you want to use this other method, just go upwards by 1 inch and connect, slant it to the sides. Okay, but for today I'll be using this method. So don't stick to one method. Whatever works for you, you can go ahead and use it. So go ahead and cut out your zipper allowance open, and then notch your zipper point. Okay, so I've gone ahead to cut out the same thing on my Mikado, the main fabric. Okay, can you see what we have for the front? Can you see our Queen Anne neckline? It is queening. It's so beautiful. So we'll go ahead and add stay. I won't be adding stay to the Mikado because it's already a structured fabric, but I've added the soft stay to the lining piece, and I left half an inch at the neck area. I don't want that part to be bulky. So go ahead and join them, follow the notch you made and join them together. So for the lower part, I've gone ahead to sew this neatly. Can you see what we have? So I've turned the sides with the lining and the lower part. I've done same for both front and back. Can you see the lower part? Okay, the main fabric came upwards because of the 1 inch we subtracted from the lining. Okay, let your work be beautiful and neat. Okay, that's our trademark here. So guys, you're going to go ahead and shapen the lower part. Okay, you're going to open up your front piece at um the center, open up, and then you're going to shape. I made a mistake here. Thank God for the notch. That's why I said you should notch. Okay, you're going to lay them right sides facing each other, and you shape with the sewing allowance that you left. Okay, and we're done with the lower part for now. And then for my upper piece, I've gone ahead to turn with my lining. This is my back piece. I've turned the neckline and the sides, okay? And this is what we have, and I've ironed it out. Now for my front piece, can you see what we have? This is so beautiful. The bust is busting. Now you can go ahead and cage this if you want to cage it, okay? And make sure to open up your seam lines and iron them well, okay? Iron them flat. So this is what we have, and this is the main fabric. Like I said, Mikado is already structured. I didn't want to add stay to this, okay? So this is what we have. Make sure you open up your seam lines and iron them out. So what we're going to do is this. We'll join the front piece, right sides facing each other, and then you go ahead and sew up the neckline and the sides, okay? Then I'll advise you use your hemming gum on the neckline, so when you're ironing it, it will help it to lay flat and well relaxed, okay? So while sewing, I'll sew with my hemming gum together and I'll shape the sides, okay? So this is what we have, guys. Can you see how relaxed the neckline is? Now this will help your lining not to be popping up, okay, in front of your main piece. Okay, so this is what we have. This is so beautiful. I'm loving the outcome. Can you see the neatness inside? And it's so deep. Can you see what we have? This is so beautiful. So what we'll do next, we're going to join right sides facing each other. You're going to join the shoulders, okay? So open this up, right fabric to right fabric, lining to lining, and then you join the shoulders and shape the sides. Now for a sleeve, I've gone ahead to lay my chantilly on a fold of 4 because we'll be cutting the both sleeves together. Now the length of this sleeve is 27 inches. I want it to be a little bit longer than the actual length I would have on a normal day, okay? I'm going to just do a freehand cutting for the sleeve, okay? If you want a detailed tutorial, leave a comment in the comment section. Now on the open side, I'll come down by 4.5 inches, okay? And then on that 4.5 inch, I'm going to curve it in an S-like shape back to the top of my sleeve to create my armhole curve. Now go ahead and confirm this line if it gives you your round armhole measurement. Okay, and then I'm going to measure around my sleeve, my elbow. So go ahead and mark your measurements. Now I'm still going to reduce this measurement later because this is a very stretchy chantilly. Okay, now from the lower part I'm marking upwards 6 inches. This is where our sleeve is going to flay out a bit. It's going to have that airline shape effect. Now from that 6 inches mark, slant it out like you want to create an airline. Okay, a line, yes. Okay, and you're done. It's as simple as that. So you just go ahead and cut out. Now my scissor was trying to misbehave at this point. It was poking into my chantilly. I don't know why. Sorry, guys. So anyways, just go ahead and cut out your sleeve. Okay. Sorry, I don't know why my scissor was misbehaving. It was trying to misbehave. So go ahead and follow your chalked line. But I went in some more because this fabric, this chantilly is very, very stretchy. Okay. So after cutting out, this is what we have. Now, so this lower part doesn't get too pointy, I'm going to curve it out some more. Okay. Just go ahead and shape it the way you saw me do. It will give you that funnel effect on your sleeve. Okay. So I had to shape it in some more. So if you're working with a non-stretchy chantilly, go ahead and take your actual measurements. But since I'm working with a stretchy chantilly, I had to minus 1 inch out of my normal measurement. Okay. Now at this part, I'm just going to curve it out by like 1 inch. Okay. I didn't want it to be too pointy. And our both sleeves are ready. Go ahead and notch the midpoint for you to know where you're attaching. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and attach this to our top. So this is what we have. Our cloth is coming together. Can you see how beautiful the sleeve is? See our bodies all fitted and beautiful. The bust is busting every part. Can you see the inside over neat? I love this. So kindly give this video a thumbs up. Okay, now leave half of an inch on the both sides. Okay, do not close the sides completely because we're going to work on the extended peplum. Okay, so I cut my fabric on fold. Okay, because I'm going to be using the fabric as both the main piece and the lining. For the center piece is on fold, and I have a total of 72 inches on length, the lengthwise. Okay, and then the length, sorry, on width, then the length is 10 inches plus half of an inch for joining. Okay, so since the extended peplum will be starting from the zipper allowance area, I'm cutting both front and back the same. So I have 76 after marking out, sorry, 72, then I put it on fold. I hope you understand. Good. So from that folded part, I'm going to mark my waist divided by 4, which is 9.75. I'm going to mark that point. Now mark it at the open part. Remember, this fabric, I'm cutting it on fold because the fabric is going to serve as lining. Now when you open it up, you have 20 inches. On fold, it gives me 10 inches. Okay, then the width of it is 72 inches on fold. I hope you understand. Now this notch I'm making is for both the front and the back. Our extended peplum will be having a zipper allowance, so the both of them is equal. Okay, if you want yours to get into your zipper allowance, add 1 inch to the back piece, okay, for zipper. So this is for the front. These other two will be for the back and making the notch to be more visible. Okay, now this is the front piece. So when you open it up, you will see the notched points that you just created. So this is where you sew. Follow my hand. You sew from the sides all the way to where the first notch stops. Okay, do not sew that part. You leave that part open. Sorry, I made a mistake here. I was looking for it. I've seen it. Now you will not sew this part that is your waist, your front waist measurement. Sew from where the notch stops to the side. Sew from where the notch starts to the other side, and leave the center part open. That's where you're going to flip everything to the right side, okay, for the front. Now for the back piece, this is unfold, okay, as well. It's the same thing as what I had, so I've gone ahead to divide this into two, okay, for our back pieces. I hope you understand. The front one is unfold, the back piece is separated into two. So for the back, you sew up the zipper area, skip the waist opening we made from the notch, sew all the way to the sides, and then you bring everything out from your waist measurement. Can you see what I have here? I've turned everything to the right side. The fabric is also my lining. Now the part where your stitch stopped, make sure you notch it well. It will help it to relax when you're attaching to your top. Can you see? I'm going ahead to notch it more, maybe by 1/4 inch. Can you see what we have? This is for the back piece. This is for the back piece as well. Make sure you notch, okay? This notching is very important, okay? You notch, and then for the front piece as well, the part where I didn't sew, I'm going to notch it. Now this notch will help you, it will guide you when sewing. Please don't forget to notch. So I'm going ahead to notch as well. Please remember the front piece is on fold, okay? It's only the back pieces that are being separated, okay? So this is what we have. Ensure everything is well aligned. I'm notching my center point. Now this mark we made is just your waist divided by 4. Do not include the sewing allowance on your top, okay? Now from where we stopped, the 1/2 inch I asked you to leave on the sides, it will help you to sew this easily. So let your notch match with the notch of the center of your top and sew from one end to the other end at the front, okay? And then for the back, you're going to bring the back piece in as well. From now, remember this our peplum is not going to be getting to the zipper area. So mark out your zipper allowance and then add 1/2 inch to that. If your zipper allowance was 1 inch, mark out 1.5 so that after attaching your zipper, that 1/2 inch difference will be there. Now go ahead and join everything together. And this is what we have. After joining, ensure that your peplum is equal, okay? One shouldn't be longer than the other. I haven't ironed this out yet, but can you see what we have? This is already coming out so beautiful. So this is what we have. Like I said, for the back, can you see the allowance I left? Okay. After fixing in my zipper, the difference that it didn't start from there will still show. So I'm going to be serging all this rough parts later. Sorry. So flipping it to the front part, can you see this is so beautiful? Oh, this camera is not showing you how beautiful this dress is. I love it. Okay, so can you see our extended peplum? This is so beautiful. Now go ahead and iron. So we're going to bring in our lower parts that we've joined already. Okay, this is my skirt part. Can you see what we have? See the hip area? I told you after joining your dress, your hip will still come out perfectly. Can you see what we have? This is so beautiful. Now open up the zipper area, okay, so you can fix this neatly. Notch the midpoint of your skirt part and notch the midpoint of your upper part. Now flip the extended peplum to the right side of the fabric and then you lay your skirt part. Just follow the way you see me do, okay? Lay it over it. From the center you sew to the side, from the center you sew to the other side, and then you fix in your zipper and our dress is ready. Can you see this? Okay, so I'll go ahead and do this and show us what we have. Can you see our dress? Please give this video a thumbs up, I beg you. Can you see this? See our Queen Anne neckline. Now this is our extended peplum, sitting pretty. Let me show you guys the back, okay, so you can see what I talked about. Can you see? I fixed in my zipper. Ensure the waistline is matching. Now look at the peplum. It didn't start from the zipper and then there's an ½ inch difference at the waist. Can you see what we have here? And it's so neat, okay, and so beautiful. Look at the inside. It's sitting pretty inside, okay. This is so beautiful. So go ahead and align your zipper area. Look at our hip, and the skirt is so long. So thank you so much guys for stopping by for today's tutorial. I'll kindly appreciate if you subscribe. Another tutorial is loading. It's already on the way, so you'll be notified when it comes up. Thank you so much for the support so far. May God bless you guys richly. Now do not forget to open up your slit area and use your hemming gum to hold it in place. Okay, I'm going to do that right now and then I'll iron this out. Thank you so much guys. Till I see you guys next time. Bye bye. Kindly try it and let me know in the comments how yours comes out.